And the second time I had herpes, they wanted me to use chapstick, which I thought was odd, but who am I to argue? Welcome to BTP ASMR. And what do we do with the empty can? That's right, kids. Yay! Hi, welcome to the Black Tower Podcast. It's that time again, where we punish our livers and feed our soul, talking about the greatest goddamn book series in existence. My name is Josh. For tonight, I'll take on the persona of the Sora von Mahale books, who, as you may or may not know, sadly was a dark. I hope.
And I am I'm sorry. And I'm Reese Sedai. You're Ethan Mail.
I don't have nails, so I can't do it.
I do have. It's quite fun. Hold on.
There it is. There it is.
Gosh, all these things I just used to do as a bad habit, I can now stream and make money for.
And I'm Andrew. I'm doing this right? This
Yes.
is ASMR.
Yeah. You just
have
gotta
loud neighbors and they're a pain in the ass, ASMR.
You just gotta rub your beard while you do it.
I get some people love ASMR, and that's fine. I know it works for some people. It gives me the old heebie-jeebies. I can't stand it. Especially when it's like any of the mouth noises, like chewing or smacking.
The chewing ones are the worst.
I can't stand it. Like, I generally don't advocate that much for violence, but you chew with your mouth open.
Yep.
I think your parents should have smacked you more and harder.
You do that with your mouth open, we're gonna fight.
I think it's amazing what people are able to do and make money nowadays. And quite honestly, I admire it because I am not brave enough.
Internet 3.0, baby.
Yeah.
That's why we do this, where we don't make any money.
Yeah.
But we have fun. Yeah,
But I tell you, there are days that that old 9 to 5 just is like, whoo, man. Let me take off these socks and whip out the camera real quick. Yep. Just like that.
Why did I laugh like the fucking counting vampire from Sesame Street? And I'm like, what was that?
Oh!
One
OnlyFans subscription.
Count censored. The song of the Count censored. They literally just censor out every time he says count. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got in trouble. I got in trouble in college for this because we were watching it in the library. We were in the side room. Yep.
It's a good one.
Security showed up and was like, guys, you were really loud. And we're like, hold on, just watch this real quick. And so he watches it with us, laughs hysterically, and is like, that's some great shit. You got to be quiet, though. This is the library.
Your mom's in the library.
From the guy with a boom wand behind him. What?
What are you talking about?
Who has a boom wand behind him?
I have some leaf curtains.
My boom wand is behind that corner right there, so you can't see it. So it's basically it's Schrodinger's boom wand.
Love it.
And I can hear myself. Now. Through Josh.
Oh, normally seeing is believing, but apparently hearing as well.
Oh shit!
Oh god, Josh.
What's happening? Is it me? Am I causing problems?
Yeah, you were echoing, but now it's not doing. No, it's like our voices were echoing through your mic, but now it's stopped. I mean, I can hear it faintly in the background, but
Which is I piped it through my earbuds now.
Yeah, no, I believe you. Your microphone is just sensitive enough to keep it up because you got to turn the sound way up because of old man hearing.
I don't believe anyone.
Wow.
I'm giving you an excuse.
Fuck you.
Have done, can do, will do again.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's me. It's pretty easy for me to fuck me. Just another night.
Liar!
Okay, fine. I do advocate for justifiable legal violence. Justifiable legal violence.
Love it. I love.
Nope.
That's my favorite kind of violence.
Yeah. Followed shortly by kinky consensual violence.
You know, I used to date a Justin.
That absolutely caught me off guard. I was focused on staring at Josh, who like made that noise, but his face didn't change. And then, yeah.
If I had been taking a drink when you said that, I would have 100 would have spit all over. That would have been poof.
Oh, I'm glad
The
you
only
did
thing
it.
that went boof.
Ugh.
Speaking of beef, oh, it's about time to get ready for this episode.
Yeah, let's
It's going to
do
be
this.
an exciting one, but before we get into it, we have two things we need to make sure that you know about, and I need to go into the Gmail for one because we have neglected doing this for far too long. I know this person has been a part of the Patreon before. They took a brief stint from Tower, I believe, or they returned, or the Tower decided to say, "Hey, this person has returned. This is news." Winter's Lady, welcome back. Welcome back to the Tower.
Welcome
Ye
back.
noble soldier, welcome back. We're only over a month late because this is from September 6th. So, terribly sorry. I would check our email and be like, I need to remember that for tonight for the episode. And then it would
Yeah.
just go away.
It's
But
one of those
we finally
like
did
things,
it.
like
I'm
you
so
know,
sorry.
yeah, just make a post it for it.
Bro, you want to know the sad part? In my little drawer over here, look at all the post-it notes I have. And I don't write shit on a single
I
one.
got them like I got like a whole bunch of.
I don't
I'm
write
not
shit on
helping.
nothing. I'm terrible.
This one's on the back. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it.
But you know what's not terrible? Our website.
That's true.
BlackTowerPod.com is the official home of the Black Tower Podcast. Your go-to source for deep dives, laughs, and tainty insights into the Wheel of Time universe. Explore our 5 most recent episodes with Dragonsworn on demand. Connect with us across all of the social medias like Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Blue Sky, there's a link to join our Discord and links to our YouTube. And you can also support us and support the show through our Patreon and the merch shops that are all linked on the website. Everything that is in the Black Tower begins and is right there at blacktowerpod.com. Step in and join the madness. Speaking of which, if you're listening live, you have literally tonight and tomorrow to buy your tickets. Ticket sales end midnight Eastern, October 8th for in-person. You can still get your virtual ones, I believe, like, all the way up until pretty much like the Thursday before, so the 16th or so, because we'll probably send out the email with all the links and stuff the 16th. If you have bought a ticket and you're like, hey, nobody sent me an email confirming it, that's my bad. I keep meaning to work on the email. I have not done so. And we're so close at this point. What? No. There should be an email coming out to confirm your ticket purchase this week. If y'all can help me remember to make sure that happens by the end of this week. By Friday, please. If we can try. I will try to remember. We'll see how that goes. Josh, I didn't hear a single word you said. It was just silence. I saw your mouth move, and now not even that's happening. Now you're frozen again.
Oh.
You're so disappointed.
Oh. My perspective has changed.
What is this? Is this the Panic at the Disco song, New Perspective? Anyway. BlackTowerPod.com also has everything for the Gathering Madness, as well as a link to submit Watt Tales competition entries. So if you haven't done so, please do so now, as soon as possible, because the deadline for those is actually this Saturday or Sunday, the 12th or 11th, so that we can buy the shit for it. Yeah, do it, submit it, send it, do it,
send it. Still gonna send it
for the Gathering Madness. Full send, full tilt, and Josh is frozen again. Oh, now he's back.
Perspective has changed again.
So you mentioned Futurama, and he's doing his best Fry impression. Frozen for 1,000 years. And eventually, he'll remember that he's muted on Restream.
Good news, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
All I heard was your.
One of your timelines is getting through. Oh, I hear you.
Oh, it's the timeline that he shits himself. All right, got it.
All right.
All right. Anyway,
audio is
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Audio
yeah, yeah. You're
Mhm.
back.
Do it now.
Copyright! Oh God, no! Arnold's coming after us.
Do it now.
Get your hand out of the copyright jar. Do it now. Speaking of things we're gonna do right now, we're gonna play a spoiler warning for you, and this one is nice and soothing. So sit back, relax, close your eyes, meditate. Unless you're driving, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't close your eyes if you're driving.
Here's your spoiler warning, courtesy of the Registered Nerd.
This is your Black Tower podcast, Wheel of Time spoiler warning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. If you continue to listen, you may be cursed with the knowledge yet to come. These curses may include knowledge that you are, in fact, just a farm boy. Drinking one glass of wine now leads to mustache pulling and a hell of a hangover. Resigning that you will never be as good with the ladies as your friends are. Realizing Androl is bae, regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. The inability to stop tugging your braid in anger, even if you don't have hair. An understanding that the word taint is simultaneously a noun, adjective, and verb. Discovering you have more titles than actual name. The BDE, also known as Big Dragon Energy, becomes undeniable. Finding yourself promising to read A New Spring and never getting to it. An uncontrollable urge to argue over inconsistent pronunciations. Knowing that hating Gon is a responsibility, not a privilege. Again, there are no beginnings or endings to spoilers, but this is a beginning. You have been warned.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got you for one whole hour of podcasting until you click off the video. Pause. Like Josh's tech.
Oh yeah. Love it.
All right.
I love it and am excited for the partay tonight because we're talking about one of my favorite fantasy. Well, we're talking about a thing that participates in one of my favorite.
That's
That's about it.
far more than a thing. What are we talking about, Josh?
Ale.
Is my microphone working? Is this thing on?
I'm pretty sure we're talking about ale. That's what I would assume.
He did not hear me at all.
No, I
not
didn't.
hear me in the slightest. I said, what are we talking about tonight, Josh? And you were just like,
We are talking.
what the hell are they doing over there?
We are talking about that glorious city called Manetheren.
Country.
Now, that's right. It is a country. It is a country. It's a great country. It is a
It's the greatest country. It's the best.
greatest country in the world, and it really is the best.
The sphere looked at me with tears in their eyes and said, Where did
You have
Manetheren
to
go?
weep for it. It's just you have to weep.
Manetheren in the old tongue means mountain home, which kind of makes Utah Manetheren. So when you come to the Gathering Madness, you're coming home.
Why are you doing the fucking anime ooh woo? Like, come into
Pretty.
my mountain home,
It is.
ooh woo. Yeah. Oh, it's like a euphemism. It's like a euphemism
Please
for
someone
anal.
clip that. Please someone clip that.
Oh.
I need someone to clip that.
Do it now.
I have failed.
No, but we're talking about Manetheren today.
Ma.
We don't get a lot of information about Manetheren. We weep for Manetheren.
Get a lot, but there is a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. We weep for Manetheren, and we know why we weep for Manetheren.
So,
And we know that our favorite people are descendants of.
Mhm.
But what does that
Let's-
mean? What does it mean to be a descendant of
Oh
Manetheren?
shit, we actually had a cool fucking teaser for this one. The brief teaser. A nation born in fire, died in glory, and became the heart of a legend still sung by Two Rivers folk.
Allegedly.
Nice.
We're gonna
That is
set the
pretty
stage.
good.
Set the stage.
The stage is set.
There we are.
The drama is here.
Breaking of the world
It's been
didn't just happen.
Place by
Is happening. Shit's going crazy. Mountains are being risen where there were once oceans. Oceans are being created where there were once mountains. Shit's fucking crazy. And you know, we always talk about that as a scope of the breaking.
but we don't really think of it.
I'm just letting him have his moment.
No, I was giving you background music.
Oh, my bad.
He's
we
going
talk
there,
about-
and meanwhile, I'm like dogs and cats living together.
Blood in the streets.
Boots and cats. So we always talk about mountains being risen where oceans once were, but we don't really talk a lot about like any examples. But we are tonight because damn it, Manetheren is an example. In fact,
Hell yeah.
the mineral and metal rich nature of the mountains of mist, especially the mountains that around where Manetheren winds up being founded, the mountain home, owes its existence to having once been the sea floor under a shallow part of a great western ocean that was now risen up in mountains. So previously, all of these minerals that could have been mined during the Age of Legends were mostly protected by being underwater. But
So, like,
insane male channelers who went and, you know, actually did something
Go
instead
to
of sitting in the Hall of
everybody.
Servants being like, nah, let's not do it. Loose there, and nah, our plan failed and it's your fault. Fuck you. Sorry, different story. So insane male channelers went here and they did some crazy shit with I'm assuming a lot of weaves of earth, probably some fire, maybe some volcano. Who knows? I mean, they rose up the ground, so
I
Yep.
never
knows?
thought of the amount of fossils available to be collected
yeah.
during the Third Age, and
So
I'm
many fossils.
completely
Well,
distracted now.
isn't there a
You
scene
know,
where they
you know how
talk
many
about-
opalized ammonites they probably just threw away because they're like, that's not a Terran Grial.
Well, didn't they talk about? I think Matt talks about finding fossils in the
I think
mountains.
they do.
Yeah, I think
At
it
some
is
point.
Brett.
Yeah, I think they do. So yeah, it's this ocean floor that gets raised up and becomes the mountains of mist,
Gonna raise it up.
and the sea recedes, and the result is a mountain range rich in mineral resources and metal ores. The range is so rich in metal ores, in fact, that for 3,000 years, visible signs have been continuously detectable to those schooled in mining. People that know what to look for 3,000 years can just look and be like, there's fucking metal there. Like, there's good shit right there. There's good shit up in them there hills, and I'm not talking about the Mountain Dew stills, if you know what I mean. Though I would love to meet a Two Rivers hillbilly moonshiner. That would be fucking fantastic.
Dude.
Tam? Isn't
Like,
that
damn,
Tam?
yeah.
That's Brandy. He's just making apple brandy. He's the legit one.
Sure. Uh-huh.
I want to find the illegal ones that don't pay their taxes to Master Alvear in the village circle. I ain't paying no taxes to your village anarchy, to your village tyranny.
That's where Matt gets all of his money to find the badgers.
Matt in the moonshine still. Oh god, that'd be fucking great. The first people to come to the region and kind of settle the area do so before the last decades of the breaking even ends. And this is like where they start think kind of California gold rush, but instead of it just being gold, it's just like metals and minerals, right? They start finding all of this mineral wealth in the mountains, but also that the land itself is very rich and verdant to the east, and there's these new rivers that are going through, so that it's flowing down from the uplands, and now you got the mountains that are going to have the snow caps that melt and send down like this very like nutrient rich water that's going to be great for farming and farmlands, as we know, because in Third Age we have Two Rivers tobacco that's like regarded by even like nobles as some of the best tobacco you can get. And then the Two Rivers are just like, it's just normal. And it's like, you don't know what you have, marijuana farmers.
Yeah, right.
It's cryptochronic.
Yeah, but much in the same way as the gold rush in the U.S., like for the Western gold rush and the push out there. Communities get established, people congregate in the communities, and they mine the resources for the minerals and the metals again, and they start growing all this wealth, and eventually, these settlements grow into towns, and these towns grow into bigger towns because they don't really ever grow into cities. And it's kind of like the whole theme. If you've watched the TV show, which if you are watching us but haven't watched the TV show, you should definitely watch it. But Bryn Spring, the entire concept behind that is this mining in the mountains of mist, and mining of these minerals and metals. But for Manetheren, the first historical records that we get that mention the name Manetheren existing as a nation state exists to a time right around 100 AB. And to put that in perspective, that is 102 years before construction is completed on the White Tower. Manetheren existed 102 years before the giant white tower that kind of looks like a phallus was.
Let the record show that nothing existed before the giant tower that kind of looked like a phallus was completed.
For about another 100 years, Manetheren would consolidate power, expand its borders, and eventually reach all the way to Third Age of Marundi. And this is where it starts getting into battles with neighbors over sovereignty claims. And eventually these conflicts end when Queen Mabrim and Sharid of Aramel proposes an alliance of the 10 greatest nations of the era, and this becomes known as the Compact of the 10 Nations, and it's where we get the idea of the 10 nations from, that essentially rule the world following this up until the reign of Alter Hawking, essentially. Manetheren joins the compact under an agreement signed by Queen Sorella I Marina herself, also likely an Aes Sedai, because a lot of the queens of this time were Aes Sedai. It was very common for the queens to also be Aes Sedai. The centuries that follow after that, Manetheren experiences a massive boom in prosperity. I mean, again, they've got so much natural resources to exploit and send out to the world. You also get the Ogier that are invited to come in and assist with construction of Manetheren's capital, which was built high and secure in the peaks of the Mountains of Mist. And it is said that once it was completed, it was an absolute marvel to behold, and that Ogier stonemasons would come to Manetheren or to the mountain home simply to stare and marvel in its wonder at how incredible it was. It also contained an Ogier grove, accounted as the second most beautiful Ogier grove in the world, only second to the Ogier grove in Tar Valon. And it also held a waygate, which we see in the Third Age is the first waygate that we ever see and that they ever use, providing easy travel to a multitude of sister cities and steading. So, though Manetheren was generally at peace with the surrounding area and with the 10 nations, because there was so many riches available in the Mountains of Mist, there were frequent fights and skirmishes with its neighbor Saphir, a kingdom which claimed sovereignty over the northern stretches of the Mountains of the Mist mountain range. In one century, Manetheren was ruled by a king named Buren. Saphir invaded Manetheren, led by its own king, a man named Adamon. Buren responded by mobilizing the Manetheren army and engaged Adamon at Median's Ford, where Saphir emerged victorious but was unable to press the advantage. Conflicts with Saphir would continue for generations due to animosity between the two nations.
That's one of the.
That is a lot of history, though.
Yeah, I think that's one of the unique things with Manetheren is it's not just like they have the resource-rich area, but also the highly defensible area. So it's like even though they have all of these rich resources, they can create this mecca of exports, basically. They're also in a very good place to defend that position just by the geography. And I think that's one of the things that it kind of makes Manetheren unique in that not only did the breaking make it a resource-rich area, but also a very like a fortress. It's a natural fortress without the walls, and then they build the walls, and it's just
What was that? In the Lord of the Rings, I know it's really you see it a lot in the second and third movies. Is it Helm's Deep? Is that the basically like the fortress up against the mountain?
Yep.
Like think that. And I would like to. I would imagine there's probably a portion of that inspired the idea behind Manetheren's capital city.
Yeah. Which I also think is kind of cool. I was thinking of that as well, that it is very reminiscent of Helm's Deep, even, the massive battle. But I think it's kind of funny that it's a historical location, and now it is almost itself become the Shire of, Evansfield. I think that's funny.
Our story begins with some Ta'veren down in the Shire. Their feet not so hairy, but covered in wool from the socks.
And there's always been comparisons, right? Because you've got two of the greatest. Oh, that's another great point.
Oh, we both clicked.
Peaks brings up that Helm's Deep and Minas Tirith were both
Oh, yes.
mountain city states.
About
But there's been lots of comparisons between Tolkien and Jordan over the years, and there are some people who dismiss it and say, "Oh, it's not. They're incomparable. You can't." Bullshit. Actually, you can, because it's high fantasy in both situations, and I mean both starting cities are known for tobacco, worldwide famous for tobacco. They're between two rivers, nestled in a very remote part of the world that does not get many visitors. Like there's a lot of, I mean,
Then fancy,
Gandalf,
funky wizard person shows up. Doing some
exactly.
crazy shit.
Gandalf visits Bilbo.
She's really short in this one, though.
Yeah.
Gandalf was way shorter and way hotter, which means Wheel of Time is better. Duh. But no, there is, and you think about it, like, and we'll talk about the decimation of Manetheren later, but Manetheren was so well defended and so wealthy because of their natural resources, because of their natural defensibility, that even the, I mean, complete decimation of the kingdom itself could not eradicate the people. There are still people in that country thriving, doing just fine. Now, have they risen once again to become lords of industry? Kings of industry? Nah.
Well,
They
by the end of the series,
perfectly
maybe.
happy
We're getting
to
there.
be shepherds and farmers and roof thatchers and apple brandy brewers, which is kind of cool.
And a wee shepherd.
Maybe it's
interesting to think about, like, the thought process almost of RJ as he's making this, where it's like, you have this mythical city that goes through this astounding battle that just defines an entire age, and where in Lord of the Rings we see that, we experience that's our current. I think it's fun for, like, him to kind of RJ just take a step away from that and be like, yeah, but instead of doing that, what if that is like the past? And that brings us to where we are now. And like after, I think it's interesting to kind of tie those two, like to tie the Shire and, Helm's Deep, or I'm sorry, I already forgot the other, together, to find Minas Tirith, to tie those together and make them like the same location is a fun, way to kind of create a new story. I think it's interesting to kind of like pay homage to the original, but still make it new at the same time. I like.
Does that make Patton Fane Gollum?
Of course.
Yes.
That was obvious.
Yeah. Yes, all right. So Manetheren's government. Most of the records of the founding of the government were lost to time, but it is a kingdom. It does operate on a monarchy, a traditional monarchy. However, it's unclear as to whether the hereditary succession is determined by the patriarchal or the matriarchal line. There seems to be indicators that because there were both as many queens as mentioned as there are kings, that it's plausible that the political heir was simply just the firstborn child, regardless of whether it was a son or a daughter. It didn't matter. Just the firstborn became the one that inherited or became the heir. Frequently, the noblewomen of Manetheren were also Aes Sedai or trained as Aes Sedai at the White Tower. Traditionally, every queen of Manetheren was herself an Aes Sedai and bonded her king as husband and a warder.
That was a tradition they picked up, or that's the tradition that Andor like continued, right? Or was it a traditional amongst the 10 kingdoms to do that back then?
It might have just been traditional amongst the 10. I'm not entirely sure. I could see it being a bit of a tradition amongst the 10, given that so many queens were Aes Sedai.
I always wondered if that was kind of a thing in the show that they were doing with the pool scene. Like my early on theory was that was an old Manetheren ceremony that had been lost over time that the Two
Yeah.
Rivers folk were doing that they didn't really know why, but maybe it was like maybe that was like the ceremony for the queen going through her like Aes Sedai ceremony at the time. I always thought that could be an interesting.
Well, and culturally, in a lot of, and this is actually sociologists have done studies in like modern times, and they found that the breakdown in society is what has caused a lot of these kinds of, like a lot of the societal problems that we face nowadays. A lot of it stems from the fact that we no longer have a sort of cultural rite of passage, right? There's nothing right now to separate you from adolescence to adulthood. There's no ceremony, there's no circumstance, there's no
Generally
defining moment.
accepted,
Yeah,
like each has their own, like each like subset of the culture has their own version of it instead of like
right.
a universal. Yeah,
And,
that is
and a lot of
interesting.
people like to blame, millennials because we were the first ones to get, participation trophies and we were the first ones that, really started to kind of see this breakdown.
We didn't
Um,
make the trophies, but go
but
on.
Yeah, y'all
exactly,
fucked it all up. I'm
we
definitely
didn't
not a
we
part of that.
didn't give them trophies to ourselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you
I'll tell
can
you, my
thank
soccer
our
team, we didn't get no damn participation trophies.
you can
Either
thank
won
our
or you was a
boomer
loser.
parents for that.
Yeah, our parents
Um,
that wanted to be our friends instead of our parents. Go on.
My
but where I'm
parents
going
smashed
with
my
this
participation trophy
is
in
it's
front of my face.
interesting to see you have places in the world, in the Wheel of Time specifically, because I do have a point. I'm not just going off on a cultural tangent here.
I was really enjoying it.
There are places in the Wheel of Time that are cohesive. They stick together like the Two Rivers, like Emmons Field. And even though they have people they don't like dealing with, even though they have the Congers and the Coplans, they're still community, and they're still a part of that. Egwene looking forward to braiding her hair at Beltane. There's all these things that they have to look forward to, and as a result, you have a much more cohesive societal structure, which allows these kids, when they leave, to have more identity, more self identity, which prepares them for that, and which prepares them for the journey they're about to go on. And what we have in this particular area is a cultural foundation from Manetheren, a cultural foundation so powerful and so well established that the Two Rivers folk don't even know why they're stuck. They don't even know why they never give up on
And
anything.
that's so interesting about it, and that it's so ingrained in them, like
'Cause they watch
the
Galaxy Quest.
traits. Right. They've watched Galaxy Quest so much that they know how to act, but they don't know why they act that way. See, you get it.
So, records indicate that Manetheren had a ruling class of nobles referred to as the First Lords who spoke an elegant dialect of the Old and wielded a great deal of power within individual provinces.
They talk them.
Here's an
pretty
interesting. Yeah, here's the interesting going because I skipped a little bit because I want to make that, but I want to make this last point because I think it's pretty neat and what it could mean for our Two Rivers folk. Because of this tradition of having so many of the nobility be trained Aes Sedai, and there's this purveyance in progression and emphasis on having channelers as part of the nobility, it's reasonable to assume that the genetic ability of the channel was fostered and carried on and very strong amongst Manetheren nobility. So, fast forward to the Third Age, the Aes Sedai find a ton of channelers in the Two Rivers. It is reasonable to surmise that a fair portion of the channelers they find are potentially direct descendants of Manetheren nobility. And it's always cool if you can potentially track your lineage back to like nobility. It'd be like the equivalent of being able to like I guess like track your bloodline back to like nobility from like the Ottoman Empire. You know, depending on your perception of like an ancient great empire. I mean, it's like the last empire that really truly existed.
And I think, I think RJ does a good job of like painting that without like showing us direct lineage. Like he draws those parallels between our characters and their ancestors or ancestral counterparts, at least.
Yeah.
If
I
not,
mean, imagine if Bode Cawthon, it was Bode Cawthon, right? She was one of Matt's sisters.
Yeah.
Imagine if like she could draw her lineage back to like, you know, I don't think they had children, but if they did, like Queen Alessandra, like oh shit, the lady in the song.
And on top of that, like not just the bloodline, but also the idea of rebirth as well. It's kind of like a double whammy for the Two Rivers folk. They got both the bloodline.
Bode is Alessandra reborn?
I'm saying somebody could be Alessandra
I'm saying
reborn.
somebody. So one of them motherfuckers is, I don't know which one, but it's one of y'all. Which one of y'all has a feeling like blowing up a city?
Somebody blew a giant amount of one power more than they could wield. I don't know.
Okay,
I was
waiting to see where that sentence went at the end there.
Like it's
one of y'all blew a massive amount.
One of y'all blew something.
Okay, look.
Of just rock hard.
Whose load is this?
Which one of you fucking Bonnie blued the Mountains of the Mist, all right? What the fuck happened? Speaking of people that were hardcore.
I'm not going to take a drink right now. Y'all going to say something else. I'm going to spit rum and coke all over my camera.
Hey, this is seasoning like a cast iron. The Army of Manetheren was perhaps the most significant military force in the Westlands during the millennium after the breaking of the world. Manetheren itself was known as an incredibly loyal and staunch defender of the compact of the Ten Nations. Very stubborn, very loyal. Sound familiar? And its military would become renowned for its unflinching opposition to the Shadow, earning the moniker the sword that could not be broken. The greatest warriors of the era were known to have flocked to Manetheren for a chance to be selected as worthy of induction into the legendary, and Matt brings it back, Band of the Red Hand. A company made up of heroes and blade masters. Elite motherfuckers, like the Spec Ops Band of the Red Hand of the era of Manetheren, that had defended generations of Manetheren nobility and just Manetheren sovereignty, period. Because the Band of the Red Hand's history was long and storied. The company engaged in innumerable exploits. Sadly, most of their records were destroyed during the upheavals of the Trolloc Wars, and the stories of the company have passed from fact to legend. But, you know, Matt was well on his way to holding true to the name, because the shit that him and the band did just defied logic, and especially the last battle. Come on, how cool is it to be yeah, we're the first ones to not only fire cannons, but fire cannons through gateways. Dude, we're bending space-time to bring this explosive iron ball to you directly.
It's just one of my favorites.
I love that Lan is just taking Demandred down, right? Demandred's out of the picture. And Moghedian's like, hell yeah, I'm going to put on a mask of mirrors. I'm going to be Demandred. This is going to be great. I'm going to take over. I'm going to rule. Everything's going to be awesome. And then all of a sudden,
clink,
a gateway opens up. And she sees these dirty ass soldiers with these big ass, what the hell are those? Oh my god!
Is that a bell on its side? Are they gonna play music? Boom!
Ah! Yeah, they go.
Then a whole fist of Trollocs explodes, and she's like,
"Dance with the Jack of the Shadows, mother."
She just got introduced to the. She just got introduced to the reason why the Band of the Red Hand will never have free healthcare.
I have a t-shirt that I wear sometimes to Wheel of Time events that it says, "I'm famous for shooting fireworks in the wrong direction."
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, so So cities. This is a cool point. Because this is the next point after the Band of the Red Hand epicness. We're gonna talk about the cities. There's 4 notable cities for Manetheren. There's not a single like aspect of Manetheren culture that seems like they weren't counted amongst the greatest. Which explains why they get so harshly betrayed. But Manetheren engineers were counted as some of the greatest and most talented in the world, and worked really well alongside Ogier stonemasons to build some of the most incredible and beautiful cities of the era. Like every other record of Manetheren, most records have been destroyed or lost. But what we know of, is there were at least 4 cities. Manetheren being the capital of the nation, with Mountain Home accounted as the most beautiful city in the world at the time, located in the Mountains of Mist just above the Manetheren Drell River.
Everyone agrees it was the most beautiful.
It's the greatest city, the most beautiful city. Could have used more gold, but the Red Eagles were a nice touch.
The best.
Pretty nice. Not as good as gold.
Grove.
You needed a really big tower with your name in gold on the side. Let them know who's boss.
Golden Tower. Golden
Those
Tower.
Saphir visitors departed, gone. So bad. They had Korathirin, a city located in the heartlands of the nation. Described the city as being destroyed or lost, and so nothing is known. But it was also an Ogier-built city. We only know its name. There is Jara Kopen, which, you know, the name of the city may have led to Copland as a name. You know, maybe. I'm just saying, interesting.
Oh, how
I
the
like
mighty-
the story.
Yeah.
Those cops. Filthy.
It was
cops.
located in the foothills of the Mountains of the Mist and was Ogier built as well. And then Shanayan, another Ogier built city, which is the site of present day Jahana, third age Jahana. So there's that. Economics and trade. Obviously, Manetheren as a country prospered greatly by producing goods and resources that it traded all throughout the 10 nations, like their metals and everything. Farmers had a ton of success because of fertile lands. Basically, they were set up for success. Everything about Manetheren said live long and fucking prosper.
Yep.
And then the Trolloc Wars happened.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
And then
Long ago, Manetheren lived in harmony with the other 10 nations. And then the Shadow Spawn attacked.
The Stinky Nation. They've got to be stinky, right? They nasty.
I mean, definitely. You think eating a diet of pure man flesh means you don't shit like a fucking buffalo? And you're already half animal? Bruh. One of y'all want to take over starting at the Trolloc Wars? I just don't want to be the one that's like doing all the talking. Like, I feel bad if I'm like...
It makes it easier for me. I don't have to do anything, you know?
I mean, I can do it if y'all want. I don't care. But I gotta offer it that way, so because like if it's just like, hey, this episode's just Andrew fucking talking about Manetheren.
Well, okay, so you've got the Trolloc Wars. The Trolloc Wars begin, right?
Yeah.
And
10 nations have been like around for 1,000 years now.
Yeah. They've been around forever. The kingdoms are all well established. Boundaries and borders are well established. You know, trade agreements. They've been around for longer. At this point in time, they've been around 5 times longer than the United States is, right?
Yeah.
Like
Manetheren's older than the White Tower.
Yeah. And it's the situation in which, you know, we're established. We've got history. Humans are very confident in how established they are. They've got literally hundreds of years of, hey, we had this tragedy happen. We had this tragedy happen. Never forget. We're gonna band together again, and you know, and then the Trolloc Wars happened. And I think taking this into context gives us an idea of how massive the Trolloc Wars were, because we as readers, we, you know, pick up the books and we read and they talk about the Trolloc Wars, and it's like it would be like any of us reading about, you know, like Vietnam. Like, okay, cool, so that's a thing that happened a long time ago, and we don't.
Maybe like World War One, maybe
World War One.
Yeah, same idea.
Yeah.
I think of it as like, you know, kind of like World War One era. Like
it was tragic.
The information's interesting, but it feels so long ago that you're kind of like, okay, like does it really apply now? And
it's
like it does clearly.
Yeah.
But where the Trollocs attacked in such numbers that all 10 kingdoms were threatened. Okay, That means you've got 10 well-established kingdoms with well-established and well-trained armies who were all threatened by the size of the invasion.
Oh yeah, they were
And
threatened
here's
by
the
the
other thing.
size. That's too
This
big.
isn't,
Where's that?
this isn't a war that happened
I can't find
and a couple months later everybody was like, woo, that was crazy. It was a transgenerational war, a pan-generational war. I don't know what my Latin
Somebody put in the comments which one of those was the right phrase to use.
I don't know what it is, but it's a multi-generational war.
Yeah.
It is transgenerational because it transcends the generations. Generational war. Okay, this war lasted for almost what was it, like 200 years?
350.
Huh?
Roughly 350.
300. Okay, so guess what?
And that's just of the protracted warfare. That doesn't include any skirmishes like at the start or the ending.
It is conceivable that you, if you were a veteran in the Trollic Wars, that you your entire life have trained to fight Trollocs, and not only that, but your great 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 grandparents fought in this same war. It is very likely that you're using a sword made for your great 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 grandfather or great 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 grandmother. Like, just think that. How many of you even know the names of your great 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 grandparents? I know the name of my great grandparents.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could not tell you off the top of the
You're
hand,
doing
off the
better
top
than
of my
me.
head, who
I
their
can go to
grandparents.
ancestry.com and find out real quick if
Yeah.
you need it. But
Okay, but that's the time
yeah.
span that we're discussing here. This was
I
not
mean, you're
just
also
a small war.
you're knocking on max lifespan of an oath rod bonded Aes Sedai.
Yeah. So this is also across generational lines in the White Tower.
That's true. This is a long conflict.
What
It
about
was.
Manetheren?
And so you've got Manetheren is for this entire time at the front
I
lines.
sent you the thing.
Fighting,
It's the quote.
defending.
I sent you the thing. You gotta read it. I want to hear you read it because it gives me chills every time I hear it. This is from this is from the book. This is a quote from Moraine telling the story of Manetheren in the books, not what we got in the TV show. The books, the spine tingling story of Manetheren.
For nearly 2 centuries, the Trollic Wars had ravaged the land and breadth of the world, and wherever battles raged, the Red Eagle banner of Manetheren was in the forefront.
Bruh, 2 centuries! For 200 years at this point, the world had been at war. And for 200 years, the legendary the Red Eagle banner, Manetheren, was there. And like, not to interrupt you talking about the Trollic War,
But to interrupt you talking about
but
the
to
truck.
also interrupt, because this is what starts the stage for the tragic downfall of Manetheren, right? Because what Manetheren, being such a staunch defender of the Compact of the Ten Nations, what Manetheren became known for is the same thing that, like, in Iraq and Afghanistan, America became known for. When British or French or German forces, any other force, got pinned down and they called for help, they hoped it was an American unit that answered because they knew help was coming. It was coming fast and it was coming violently to save them.
Mm-hmm.
Manetheren was the American savior response of the Trollic War. If you asked for help, for aid, for goods, for whatever it was, Manetheren went, I got your back because we have a compact, we're friends, we're working together. No worries, I will always help you guys because we agree to this shit.
Now, keep in mind what that means. Keep in mind what that means. For several centuries, Manetheren had zero hesitation about sending
For over the
troops,
entire life,
resources,
longer than the U.S. has been a country.
Yeah, troops,
Manetheren
resources,
went,
aid,
I'm there.
assistance. They were like, we're there.
Mm-hmm.
We hate the shadow. We will defend our fellow humans. Does not matter. We are there. We will defend you. We will take care of you. any way we can. And I'm sure there are situations in which they weren't able to get there in time, but it's like Iron Man so
They made every
Also-
effort.
said.
But also the people of Manetheren signed up for that.
Yeah.
Like they knew
Yeah.
that they weren't just
Again and
signing
again
up
and
for
again.
themselves, they were signing up to defend everyone
It was
against
like
Shadow.
It was like signing up to join like the U.S. military, knowing that you were going to be pulled into a NATO conflict. Like knowing that as soon as you signed up and finished training, you were
Yeah.
going straight into a NATO conflict or a UN peacekeeping mission. And Manetheren was like, Manetheren, to put it in words modern day youth may understand, Manetheren had that fucking dog in them. They were
They
like,
had that
I will
wolf.
meet you fucking anywhere with any weapon, and I will fuck you up. I will make you wish you were never born. Manetheren was all about the fight and supporting his friends. Manetheren was that guy you wanted to have your back anytime you went out anywhere, whether you knew shit was going to go down or not. Manetheren was that guy.
Yeah. Which just once again speaks volumes about the strength and foundational character of this nation.
Yeah.
They made a promise and they kept it, and that's a tenement that carries on to the two rivers. There's
Yeah.
plenty of times that Rand and Matt and Perrin and the rest will be like, "I gave my word, so like, of course I have to do it. Like that's
Yes.
a no brainer."
And
Other
even
people are like, "Just don't."
I got a fangirl, my boy Matt here, who is like the most like I don't want to do this out of all of them. He's gonna show up. Like he does not want to be there. He hates that he's there, but my gosh,
Yeah.
is he gonna show up and he's gonna show up hard. And that is that Manetheren blood singing because boy oh boy, they do not give up. They have no give. They don't give up. Even when they want to. They think they want to. They like consciously want to not do it, but subconsciously the Manetheren blood is like, sorry, bruh. We gotta go.
So quick thought, idea. Matt at Kyrian, the formation of the Band of the Red Hand. What if it was neither his luck nor Tavir nature that orchestrated that? What if it was the instincts in his Manetheren blood that called him to the fights where he was needed?
Ooh.
And it was the old blood singing, and it would be so poetic that if it was the old blood singing that caused that to happen, that wound up in the reformation of the Band of the Red Hand. That would be cool.
Very cool.
That is a cool origin story, I think.
Yeah. And very likely. I mean, I feel like with all of these things happening, it's very hard to separate all of them. Where it's like,
oh yeah,
yes, this is happening, but also this is happening, and also
probably
this
a bit
is
of all the
happening,
above,
and
yeah.
it's like, yeah, we need it. It really gives the pattern more meaning when it's like, yeah, this is just such an intricate weave of all of these different things together. It's RJ was brilliant.
I actually
I'm gonna
really
not be an asshole and be like, "Hey, anybody else want to talk about this stuff?" And then immediately interrupt you talking about this stuff.
I actually really love your thought, though, that Matt getting pulled into those battles had more to do with the old blood singing in him, because he's the one that we know is affected most by the old blood singing, because he's the one that was able to be like, just start speaking the old.
Alessandra Kalakar.
Yeah, Karayan Kaldazar, Karayan Alessandra, Karai Doviandi Satovius again. Like these are all things that happened before the trip to Sindel.
Yeah, and even Land's like, did you not realize you were shouting Old Tongue like about like Alessandra?
Yes.
Just a badass name, by the way.
Alessandra is a badass name. If I was still in the age and time to have children, I would put forth Alessandra as a name for a daughter.
That's what I just thought. I was like, if I have a daughter, I'm going to be hard pressed between Alessandra and Avienda.
I always thought with like the reincarnation lines, I always figured that Matt was the King Aemon.
Aemon.
And Elaine.
Hey, he just heard his name, Aemon, but just A-E-M-O-N, not E-A-M-O-N.
And
little
of
dyslexia.
Course, Egwene, Alessandra. I always figured those were the two because it seemed like it would be Rand and Egwene.
I always
But-
read Egwene as like Amara Sue.
See, I figured she was Alessandra with her
Love it
flank.
with Amara Sue, but also like so from doing like the text based role play shit on like on the internet that I used to do as a kid, we
Mhm.
always called we always called like if you picked a character from a TV show and you just remade them and did them, we called it a Mary Sue. So Amara Sue.
Huh.
To me, it seems more of like an insulting name than like a good name. Like it kind of sucks that like they're like, oh, this uber powerful female like counterpart to the, or not counterpart, but equal level to the Dragon Reborn is Amara Sue, like a Mary Sue character. And I'm like, like RJ, we could have found a better fucking name. With all the cultures you pulled from, you could have picked a better fucking name.
Look,
Anyway,
he was fun with names, right? Because if you go through Origins,
yeah.
the inspiration for the name Murdral is that they want to murder all.
Yeah.
Like that's
Some
literally
of
where
it is
got
like some of it is like cheesy obvious, and others is like, oh, that's really complex, interesting.
King
And I love
Layman,
it. That's how you
King
know he's a
Layman,
military
who-
man, because like some of it's just fucking stupid, like merger.
right?
It's funny, stupid, but good.
King Layman, he pulled straight from the Book of Mormon. Actually, funny enough. So yeah,
To put it in layman's terms.
yeah, that one.
And
Anyway.
Rand was originally supposed to be Reese.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, Manetheren. Josh, I think before I interrupted because I got too excited. I'm like a dog that like gets too excited whenever like the owner comes home, except instead of pissing on the floor, I just like start talking.
So we just gotta ignore you when you start talking.
You know, it's really
Yeah.
special that we have to deal with you getting excited about talking about the Wheel of Time.
I think that most people feel this way, probably like that read the books about Manetheren, like how much we love Manetheren. Anyway, I think we were at like the middle years of the war, you know, right around like 1150 AB, where Manetheren's ruled by King Thorin. If you're tracking where I'm at,
If we were keeping track.
you know, if somebody had written like, you know, the history of Manetheren on like, I don't know, a website,
You know.
like a fandom for Wheel of Time, put a .com to it.
You know, if I guess at this time Manetheren was ruled by King, what a name.
Yeah,
King-
go for it. Go for it, Reese.
Thorin Altorin Alban.
Ayo.
Ayo.
Oh, that was a lot easier than I wanted it to be.
I'm sorry. Should I try harder?
Damn it, Reese.
If you could
Ruin
try harder to
everything.
pronounce these names, that'd be great.
The Thorin Alt. Ah.
I said try harder, not develop a stutter. Like,
I'm trying. I don't know what you want from me.
What do you want from me? What do you
Okay,
want from
so
anyway,
he had forged a relationship with King. Oh gosh, everybody's so great at this time.
Everyone's so creative.
King Baldwin Mael of Aridhol.
that's what I call it if I fart and it bubbles up through the front. Baldwin.
Yeah.
I love this show.
What's worse now is I have like ventilated seats in the car, so it blows cold air. Like, anyway.
Anyway. King Thorin, worried his ally was beginning to despair.
Don't despair.
It's too late.
God damn it. I'm really worried about you despairing.
I can't read this section. Ridiculous.
Reese is like, sorry, guys, I drank too much.
You want Josh to take over, or do you want me to take over?
No, it's
Your
just
pick.
too many. No, it's just too many mentions of Thorin, but I can do it.
Okay. You can abbreviate. Like, you don't have to read.
I believe in you.
King Thorin, worried that his ally was beginning to despair, the forces of the light might win, and so sent a delegation to Eredhall headed by his son, Prince Car Altorin, not to be confused with Thorin Alban.
Do
I've
not
noticed
fear.
now, like this one, and then the prince, and then the next king, they just shift the names down one section. You get
Arrogance,
Thorin,
I tell you.
Altorin, Alban. Then you get Althorin, Altorin.
Altorin.
And then you get Aemon, Alcar, Altorin.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know.
But I also think that's a typo on the site. I think they was beginning to despair that the Forces of the Light might not win.
Might not win. Yes, I think you're correct. And so sent a delegation to Eredhall, headed by his son, to reinforce the tenets of the Compact of the 10 Nations. Unbeknownst to Thorin, King Balwin had fallen under the manipulations of a mysterious counselor we've never heard of before, named Mordeth.
How do you meet a motherfucker named Mordeth and not immediately go, that's ominous?
He seems like a good guy.
This guy checks out.
He only wants the best for us. Yeah, old Mordeth over there.
And his advice to the king was to murder the delegation from Manetheren and imprison the prince. That seems totally legit. That makes total sense. I would definitely do that.
That's totally what friends do.
It's definitely how to, instill good
friends like you knew who needs enemies.
Yep, that's the one.
Car would eventually escape after suffering torture in Eredhall, and King Thorin would send his army to exact vengeance. However, when the soldiers arrived at Eredhall, they found nothing living, the entire population having mysteriously disappeared. Sensing a great evil, the men of Manetheren named the place Shadar Logoth and shunned it ever after.
Imagine getting blue-balled by a third age version of Roanoke Island. I came for murder and there's no one? This is some bullshit.
The fuck?
We're the Croatoans. I came to party. Let's see. Later.
What happens later?
I'll tell you.
Tell me what happens later, Reese. Tell me.
Do
share your story.
Later, Manetheren came under attack by a vast Trolloc horde, and despite a valiant defense commanded by King Aemon, the army of Manetheren was defeated and forced into a fighting retreat. King Aemon was forced into a fighting retreat before, I'm so sorry, perishing at a crash.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Before perishing.
So sorry about your loss, Aemon.
You sound like the queen's aide reading the notice in front of her, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Before perishing.
So sorry, mistress.
I'm so sorry, my lady.
Can I try you a bath?
Yes, I think I'll take one of warm milk.
Oh shit.
So
Anyway.
while we're drawing that bath,
At the crossroads near the mountain home.
Oh, right, the crossroads, of course. Let's see. The second engagement, called the Battle of Aemond's Field, not to be confused with Emmons Field. It's a different thing.
That's right.
Completely
Is
unrelated.
that where the name comes from?
No, they have.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
They have no relation.
You will not degrade Aemon's name. He died at a crossroads. A Mansfield doesn't have those. No crossroads. They don't even have a road.
Yeah, basically that. Let's see. So after the crossroads, oh wow, that's a fun phrase thing.
You at the crossroads.
Okay, so there's this big battle, of course, at the crossroads, and they're fighting. They're forced into a retreat, and the king makes a valiant effort, but he does perish in this fight at while defending
Every
Manetheren.
inch of land given to the shadow is bought with the blood of thousands. Like the
It's
Trollocs.
soaked in the blood of a Manetheren of Manetheren troops. Because there's even a point where the non-vulnerable citizenry, so the women and children and elderly and sick, those that aren't a part of those groups rush out to try to give relief to the army, because I think the story is that like they asked for help. They were told help would be there within like what, a day, 2
It's like
days?
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, 3 days. If you can hold out for
It
3
didn't.
days, help will be there. And they held out for like 14 or something, like 2 weeks or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was a much
inhumanly
longer
long.
time. And then it's like they held out for this long, but they knew after
It
the
was
5th
not.
day
Yeah, it was
that
not.
no help was coming.
And I think that's the part that's so.
No good deed goes unpunished. They helped everybody, and then nobody would help them.
Correct.
And what's so amazing about this city and this blood, why it's so important to our story, is that they are losing. They know they're going to lose. They're not going to win. Their support is not coming. And so that word gets back to the city, and they're like, you need to retreat. And that's what you're saying. The most amazing part is that these people, rather than
Hell, we
retreating,
just got here.
they're like, no, this is my land. I'm going to fight for it. And so instead of retreating, they take their pitchforks, they take their frying pans, and they go out onto the battlefield and they start fighting, and they keep pushing, and they keep pushing. They won't give them an inch. And it's just Manetheren.
Well, and this is where we kind of run into that issue too, though. Like there's no place to retreat to, right? It's this isn't a situation in which, okay,
it's
let's
not retreat.
shore up our
Retreat.
losses.
It's defeat. Yeah.
They are in the mountain home. There is no place to retreat to. Their people live in the most defensible place on the planet, but as with any most defensible place on the planet, there's no place to return to. There to retreat to. Like, you got caves that you hope that they can hide in until the threat passes. So it's not only that people are coming out with pitchforks and frying pans and anything they can get their hands on, it's that they are desperately fighting, because this isn't just about, oh, the fate of the world, it's not something nebulous and vague that is kind of abstract and large and huge. Now it's deeply personal. I'm not fighting for someone else. I'm fighting for me. I'm fighting for my toddler that is crying in a cave right now, not sure what's going to happen. My wife is by my side, and my toddler is with a stranger, just hoping we survive. And too many of the adults did not survive.
So I pulled up the actual like the story like that Moraine tells. And I reset. Okay, here it is. Their homeland lay just across the river. They must keep that host and the power with it from the mountain home. Aemon had sent out messengers, and aid was promised if they could hold but for 3 days at the Terrandrel. Hold for 3 days against odds that should overwhelm them in the first hour. That's how many Trollocs they were fighting versus how many troops they had. They should have been overwhelmed in the first hour by all metrics. Yet somehow, through bloody assault and desperate defense, they held through an hour, and the second, and the third. For 3 days they fought, and though the land became a butcher's field, no crossing of the Tarandel did they yield. By the third night no help had come, and no messengers, and they fought on alone. For 6 days, for 9, and on the 10th day, Aemon knew the bitter taste of betrayal. No help was coming, and they could hold the river crossings no more. So they left, destroying bridges behind them, blah, blah, blah. Even as word went out, the Trolloc crossing began, and the soldiers of Manetheren took up the fight again to buy with their lives what hours they could for their people to escape. From the city of Manetheren, Eldrin organized the flight of her people into the deepest forest in the fastness of the mountain. But some did not flee. First in a trickle, then a river, then a flood, men went not to safety, but to join the army fighting for their land. Shepherds with bows, and farmers with pitchforks, and woodsmen with axes. Women went too, shouldering what weapons they could find and marching side by side with their men. No one made that journey who did not know they would never return. But it was their land, it had been their fathers and would be their children's, and they went to pay the price of it. Not a step of ground was given up until it was soaked in blood. But at last the army of Manetheren was driven back to here, to this place you now call Amon's Field, and the Trolloc hordes surrounded them. And that is where, so it seems like the where Aemon gave his last stand at Aemon's Field is what became Amon's Field and that's where Aemon himself died. And because of the Warder Bond, Queen Eldrin immediately knew. And the writing of how she deals with it is actually kind of incredible. Because she doesn't just like, oh,
No.
yeah, you need to change your charger battery there, Josh.
Good.
Oh,
Hey, we're good.
in the mountains of mist, alone in the empty city of Manetheren, Alandre felt Aemon die, and her heart died with him. And where her heart had been was left only a thirst for vengeance. Vengeance for her love, vengeance for her people and her land. So, like, Alandre had the wherewithal to realize, like, there's no one else here. It's just me, which is incredible. And it seems to be also, like, there was a sense that she knew the inevitability that because they had been betrayed by all of their friends, every last country, every last person, every last king, prince, queen, noble person that ever requested their aid, and they gave it to them freely, without consequence, without reprise, without like payment needed. They knew they were being betrayed, and so she evacuated the city.
Mhm.
And then, driven by grief, she reached out to the true source and hurled the one power at the Trolloc army. And there, the Dreadlords died wherever they stood, whether in their secret councils or exhorting their soldiers. In the passing of a breath, the Dreadlords and the generals of the Dark One's host burst into flames. Fire consumed their bodies, and terror consumed their just victorious army. So the second that the Shadow Hordes feel that they win and they overwhelm the armies of Manetheren, Alondra just goes full Vegeta.
It's like
Like if you've ever watched like Dragon Ball Z and you get to the Buu arc and you have Majin Vegeta who fights Buu, and it's like the one time he hugs his son and then like knocks his son out so that like, you know, his son and like Goku's son can be carried away so they're not caught in the blast, and he sacrifices himself. Alondra does the same thing, and it's so fucking emotional. It's the story of Manetheren, I think, is one of those that like it grabs us so sternly because it's so relatably emotional, kind of. Because in the end, it's the story of a husband and wife, a king and a queen, a warrior and warder, and his Aes Sedai that have lived their life by the tenets of not being assholes, of making an agreement and holding to their word and sticking to their word the best way they can, and doing everything they can to get others to do the same. Like when when King Aemon felt that Manetheren was, or not King Aemon, but King Thorin was like, you know, Eredal's not going to hold their word for the compact of the 10 nations. They're a part of this compact. He didn't like send an army immediately to be like, oh, you're breaking the treaty. He sent a diplomatic delegation, including his son, to be like, remember your promise.
Yeah.
And in response, they literally killed the messenger and imprisoned his son. And then whenever he went to go, like they didn't even get the satisfaction of revenge because whenever they showed up, the entire city had imploded on itself.
Yeah.
And I also
mean-
liked the parallels here with Egwene at the last battle, and like on a much like smaller yet larger scale, like Egwene kind of throwing Egyanin through the portal and being like, "Hey, get out of here! I'm gonna do this thing." Is kind of the same as Queen Eldrine being like, "Hey, people, get out of the city now." Where it's like they both kind of do that evacuation on a different scale for the timeline, and then do the big thing that finishes the battle.
And this is kind of where I get to when I talk about how this is my favorite trope, right? My favorite fantasy trope. And it's not really even a fantasy trope. It's a trope that exists in real life. And it's the trope of the last stand, right? The last stand that you know you're going to die, but there are people behind you that you need to defend. And we see it happen again and again and again in history. It happened for, you know, the Spartans at the Battle of Thermopylae, or I guess I should say the Greeks at the Battle. It happened, you know.
It's a good quote from the movie, "Into the Valley of Death" for
Yeah, and it just, God, it just it's
pulls
such
at the old heartstrings, doesn't it?
Yeah, just like walking in knowing you're not going to make it, but somebody else is because of
there was the samurai
that idea of noble sacrifice, right?
in Japan. they knew they weren't going to win. I mean, they were going up against people with guns and they had swords. Like they knew, but they believed in what they believed in, and it just there's something so beautiful and tragic and broken and sad but triumphant about these stories. And damn if Robert Jordan doesn't sell every single one. And I think that's part of why, I mean, I know it's part of why I love the story.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
yeah, just it's such a
we get
great
a little bit of
to
bit of justice for a minute. Sorry, Josh. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, and this just I was gonna wrap it up with this. I was just gonna say, like, how cool is it? You know, such a beautiful scene mirrored by some of the greatest works of literature. When Moraine stands at the opening of the Wine Spring Inn and says, "Weep for Manetheren. You have forgotten who you are," and educates them on their nobility of their ancestry, and for them to go, wow, we didn't know, and to receive that perspective, what a gift. You know what it's truly it's amazing, it's astounding. And I think, you know, again, I will say it's echoed across great works of literature. There's the scene in A To Kill a Mockingbird when the mob comes to get mad at Atticus for defending defending a black guy. You know, there's just a lot of that stuff, and then that moment of innocence
Mm-hmm.
just stops everyone dead in their tracks. And Robert Jordan has this in spades. Love
There's
it.
there's another good link because when they're all shouting at Moraine to leave, right?
Yeah,
Bran steps up and is, I'm surprised at you people. Bran rumbled, Hayet al-Kar. The Kar name after this discussion should sound familiar. That was the first name of King Thorin's son, Prince Kar. Caar. It's the same
yeah,
name. And now it's been turned into a bit of an honorific last name. It's like your boy's leg was broken last night, but I saw him walking on it today because of her.
exactly.
And they do all this, and this is before Moraine goes into the story where, and she starts it off like just like you said, is this what Aemon's blood has come to? Little people squabbling for the right to hide like rabbits. You have forgotten who you were, forgotten what you were, but I had hoped some small part was left, some memory and blood and bone, some shred to steel you for the long night coming. And then Bran was like, basically like, what do you mean? We're two rivers spoken. Then she goes into the story of Manetheren. But for the betrayal of Manetheren, we do get some answers. We do get a little bit of justice. For one, the Ogier, who were known for being peaceful, but when motivated to war, were fucking terrifying. The Ogier heard Manetheren's call to arms, but they were just unable to arrive in time. That's the simple answer for the Ogier. For everybody else, there do be conspiracy. Because it was later revealed that the Amerlin seat at the time, Tetsuan, had intervened to stop any reinforcements being sent to relieve Manetheren, apparently out of jealousy of Eldrian's power and influence. And as a result, the Hall of the Tower publicly stripped her of the staff and stole and
Good.
stilled her for her crime.
Good.
One of the most justifiable dispositions of an Amerlin seat that I have read in the entire series.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of the Trolloc Wars, out of Manetheren's former territories rose the kingdoms of Farashel and Dowlin, and the legacy that we see left by Manetheren lives on in the blood and the attitudes of the two rivers and the Monsfielders, in their stubborn nature, in their honoring agreements and commitments to friends, they're valuing their relationships with other people above all else. What else? Obviously, Perrin becomes Lord Perrin Golden Eyes of the Two Rivers. He re-raises the banner of the Red Eagle, the symbol of Manetheren, and of course we have the Band of the Red Hand that raises the Red Hand. And immediately the entirety of the Two Rivers is behind him. The Queen of Geldon, a traditional territory of Manetheren, swore allegiance to Perrin just by recognizing the flag. That's how much influence Manetheren has. Years, centuries later,
Centuries later.
The Queen of Geldon recognizes the flag and swears fealty, swears allegiance to Perrin because he rose the flag of Manetheren. And it became a massive thorn in the side for Andor, where like even Elaine was like, I can't just ignore you. You rose the flag of Manetheren. And he's like,
Yeah, but I didn't want
Shouldn't
to.
have been talking
yeah,
shit.
it wasn't my choice, but also, do you want to fuck with this eagle? You want to do it? You want to start this rumble? How many people are going to fight for the historical legacy of Andor? Oh, wait.
I'm sorry. Did
You
you
don't
send
have
any
one.
help to us? Oh, I'm sorry.
Where were you when Manetheren called for aid? Oh, fuck you. But it's an incredible story, and of course, as
There was
Matt
Paradol when the
raises the band of
Westlands
the redhead.
fell.
Mhm.
But yeah, so another reason to not like the White Tower in Aes Sedai prior to Egwene's reforming,
Like gas.
because they fucked over Manetheren. Another reason to not feel sorry for anything that happened with Shadar Logoth and it getting turned into a burnt pit in the ground because shit people, shit assholes. Yeah, shit assholes. You know, they never wiped. They never wiped.
But
They had the worst wipes. No wet wipes, only dry, single ply.
No fiber in their diet.
They only wiped with poor people toilet paper made from the prisons. It was terrible. Never in my towers.
One ply.
Single ply, maybe even half ply. I don't even know. I could see my hand through the toilet paper. It was terrible.
Ew.
My servant was like, I don't know if I can wipe with this.
I've never been so dependent on the golden bidet.
It washes
Anyway.
me with grade A apple juice. Anyway,
What do you guys think about
Manetheren
Manetheren?
is an incredible. I love Manetheren, and I knew I loved Manetheren. I didn't think I was gonna get as into the story as I am now. It feels like getting really into those cool military history stories,
Yeah.
and like because you're a vet, you're just like fucking yeah, like it's like getting into like the like fuck, what is that? There's a movie about like OP Keaton. I can't remember what it's called. Combat Outpost Keaton. Shit, somebody don't know what I'm talking about. No, go and watch it. It's really good. I read the book too, and it's really good. I think The Outpost. It's just called The Outpost. It's a really good movie about how we made really shitty outposts in Afghanistan because we were like, oh, look at all these mountains around there. Well, yeah, we'll sit in the middle of them at the bottom in the valley. That's great. And then they're like, what do you mean they're getting like RPGs and shot at daily?
That doesn't make any sense.
What?
Like, it's almost like the enemy has the high ground. I'm like, did you not watch fucking Star Wars Episode 3? Come on.
No, they did not.
They you know, military leadership was very frequently the Anakin instead of the Obi-Wan. And that's
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
anyway.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, Manetheren. It's such an an emotional story.
Mm-hmm.
Such an incredible story.
Whether you have rhythm
and I'm going
or
to shut up
not.
because I feel like I've talked
Sometimes
like
it's hard.
90% of this. I feel like well, I'm not going to say that now. I'll say it after we stop recording.
Wicked smart.
Fucking wicked smile.
No,
Thanks.
Any quick final thoughts? I know we've already kind of done
It's
final
one
thoughts,
of
but anything quick.
those- Yeah, it's one of those stories that kind of like gives an extra bit of like, you know, we've got Emmons Field. It's already kind of our starting point to the story, our kind of cozy hometown, but this gives us kind of a bigger world. I don't know what word to use, but kind of like a point to kind of base off of in the bigger world of the Wheel of Time. You know, we have like Emmons Field, and you know it's small, and then you know those bloody
average.
Terran
It's
fairy
average.
folk. You know them. But when
Oh,
you
yeah.
bring Manetheren in, it kind of
You know those
brings
goblins.
you into that bigger world and kind of pulls you more into that like connected space that is the Wheel of Time, where I feel like
yeah.
at the beginning of Emmons Field, it's easy to feel like separated from it all.
You got to keep them separated.
Right.
I think the one other thing about Manetheren, the tale of Manetheren, that it gives us is I think a story is always a lot more believable when there's history, right? Because there's not a single place on earth that just exists instantly, right? There's always history. There's always references people make to something that happened 200 years ago that they have no idea why they still make that reference. It just, they do. There's always that cultural, historical reference. And I love that Robert Jordan gives us that in the story of it. Makes me very happy. And I think it adds a lot of meat to the story, a lot of sincerity and a lot of belief.
I like it. I love
And
it.
that's all I have to say about that.
I want some more of it. I tried so hard, but I can't rise above it.
Thank you
Don't
so
know what
much
it
for being
is
here.
about that Manetheren loving.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's dose of wherever you are out there in this crazy, crazy world. We hope you left here just a little bit more insane than you were when you first got here. From all of us here at the Black Tower, my name is Josh, and I have been your sword on Mahale.
I've been Reese, your Ethan Mahale, and I hope that our name sings in your heart.
And I've been Andrew, your Bijon Mahale, and I hope the next time you weep for Manetheren, you take just a little drop of taint in remembrance of the Black Tower's remembrance of Manetheren. We love you all, and we'll see you again at the same Dragon Time, same Dragon Channel next week. We love you, and good whatever time of day it is.
You've been waiting for this moment, for this feeling to grow. In the shadows, always watching, always running the show. In the tower, you can bring your pain. In the tower, you can feel the strain. You've been having so much trouble